What about the Orb of Confusion?
You know, guys, before I start today's video, I think I need to run something by you guys very quickly, alright? I've been getting certain comments on a lot of these videos lately about people asking me or just telling me that I cuss too much. And you know, as much as I really do not care about what you have to say on a video and how you say it, as long as your message is getting across, I find the thought of a challenge to be quite appealing, especially considering the fact that Black Ops 6 has so many frustrating elements about it, and through the development with Treyarch, which is exactly what today's video is about, that it would genuinely be a challenge for me to not blow up and start cursing. So starting today, guys, I need you guys to hold me accountable, alright? I am not going to curse or cuss for the rest of the year. And yes, there's only about a month and a half left, but I'm not gonna cuss. Maybe in the memes and the clips, there's still gonna be curse words, but the Scat Master has to turn a new leaf, no matter how bad I want to, alright? It's like a very subconscious thing that I do nowadays, so I'm really gonna try to not do it. But guys, today's video has to do with Treyarch and a few of my concerns, okay? This is coming not only from an honest person, but an honest content creator, because I see certain things about this game that do strike me as quite appealing, and I've talked about it on video, I've talked about it on Twitter. This whole thing with Season 1 coming out, there's a few things in there that genuinely look kind of nice. We did it! But then I see other things pertaining to just genuine decision-making skills and competence is a very nice way to put it. And it leads me to make a video like this, where I genuinely need to take into question Treyarch's overall intelligence and level of common sense, because the things that we're gonna talk about today, they just don't make any sense, man. But before we get into it, guys, you already know what it is, alright? The Scat Master's been working on 35,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and as of yesterday, we actually hit 33,000, which is crazy. So thank you guys so much for that, but we're not there yet. We got a little bit to go, so make sure to leave a like on today's video and subscribe if you're new. So please enjoy today's video on the Scat Master absolutely hog-tying Treyarch with his balls. Balls is not a bad word. Without any curse words involved. But check it out, guys. Treyarch is releasing Season 1 very soon, and yes, I've already mentioned it, but there's certain things about this that I actually do enjoy. The fact that we are getting 5 maps in Season 1 is something that I always call for in every single Call of Duty season. And anytime they do that thing where they only give us like 2 or 3 maps in a season, I obviously think that's just a load of
You tripping, bro. You tripping.
But this time, they're giving us 5 maps. They're giving us the 3 that we've already talked about, and they're also giving us Hacienda Remastered, which is actually something that I think is going to play very good in this game. But the other thing that they're adding in is another face-off map, and honestly, I'm not really interested in the face-off maps. I kind of wish they would just not do that, especially considering how bad the spawns are and just the logic behind the spawns and the pacing of the game for the size of the maps and the layout of the maps as well. A lot of it doesn't make any sense, but then we talk about certain things like the Recon perk, and guys, I've talked about this too. They decided to nerf the Recon perk from I think it was a 2-second wall hack span time to 1.5 seconds. And everybody kind of just scratched their head at that, like it didn't really make any sense. Like these freaking gooch lickers in the comment section were hating on me for criticizing their decision to tune some perks. And they like to call me a rant channel and a complainer, and I'm just crying for views. But at the end of the day, had it not been for my feedback and the feedback of literally everybody else, they wouldn't have worked on any of this. And now, after many more of us have aired out our thoughts on this change, Treyarch made the decision to actually nerf Recon again. But check this out. From the COD Updates Twitter account, we have updated the Recon Combat Specialty patch note to reflect our in-game change. Further reduce the duration that enemies are highlighted after respawning from 1.5 to 0.5 seconds. And Charlie Gooch licking ball tugging throat goat glizzy goblin Intel comes out of the woodworks again and actually tweets out Treyarch has further nerfed the Recon Combat Specialty in Black Ops 6. To which I responded, forget this dumb stuff. They literally need to make it a sweep effect with a freeze frame of where people are if they're this obsessed with allowing walls. Any type of tracking through walls is absurd no matter the duration. And I think that's really where the intelligence and decision-making skills actually comes into question when we talk about Treyarch, because this tracker perk thing, whatever it is, the whole concept of it just screams out helping really bad players because they suck meat. And we already know Treyarch is doing this kind of stuff when they talk about the non-loopable score streaks and headshot multipliers and flinching and save spaces and doors and all these other decisions that remind me of a different development team, and we'll talk about them in a minute. But the point that I'm trying to make here is, if I can come up with a better concept of how this ability would work, if we genuinely need some sort of ability that lets us see through walls, how hasn't anybody else at the development studio actually not thought of anything that would be better suited as an ability to see through walls?
Bullshit always, man.
Personally, if it were up to me, I would just scrap the entire thing, but if we genuinely need it in this game, in a game that is already chaotic, they already added 10v10 playlists, so now we're about to see more of this, and you know, on top of that, the map design in this game really doesn't support this kind of ability anyways, with the exception of a few of these maps. Majority of them are small enough for you to really be able to abuse this kind of ability, even if you're depleting the duration from 2 seconds to 1.5 to 1 to 0.5. At this point, you're leaning closer and closer to just deleting this ability, so why don't you just do it? But if you really did need that to protect your noobs, one sweep, freeze frame effect. Don't let them see their movement, don't let them see, you know, what they're doing, just one freeze frame. And that's it. And why is the Scadmaster coming up with a better concept of this ability that shouldn't even exist? I don't know, but that is what this video is about, guys. I am genuinely concerned for the people at Treyarch. This should remind you of having, you know, that one friend that used to be so reliable, they used to be so trustworthy, great people, right? But then you just catch them in a moment. Maybe it spans from a few days to a couple of weeks, maybe it's a few months. They're just in a hole, right? And you kind of feel bad for them because you look at them and what they're doing now, and you're just like, what is happening to you right now? Like, why are you doing this? It's very uncharacteristic of Treyarch to be making this many incompetent decisions at the developmental level, especially when it comes to design choices. Because all we've known since the beginning of time with Treyarch, with the exception of like COD 3, World at War to the present day, and Cold War's kind of in a gray area. I still don't really know if that game deserves any praise, but Black Ops 6 certainly does not deserve this sort of praise that we used to give Treyarch back in the day when they were putting out banger after banger after banger like Black Ops 1, 2, 3, I even enjoyed 4, but lately their work has just been And you know, you could say in the comments that I'm just nitpicking and I'm just hurting for view of the game for you. Oh my god, you're just bad, you gave something to skill issue.
Shut the fuck up, bitch.
Treyarch is clearly not at the level that they used to be, and honestly, the amount of mistakes that they're making and just contradictions within their own game design, like having this tiny of maps, this amount of them, how horribly designed they are, plus having abilities like this, while having SBMM in the game, while promoting even faster movement than ever before. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, this level of incompetence, I genuinely expect from a development studio like Infinity Ward. When things just don't make sense, and you're gonna ask me to guess which developer did it, I'm always gonna choose Infinity Ward because these people, they don't know what they're doing. And I've seen Blame Truth's video where he theorizes that Infinity Ward is kind of behind some of the decision making that goes behind this game. And honestly, I'm starting to see it a little bit more and more. And so my message to Treyarch right here, guys. Treyarch, what's happening to you guys? Who's doing? Is Joe Seacott at your headquarters holding you guys for ransom? What is going on? Are you guys on strike? Are you guys purposely doing this? Like, I genuinely recommend IQ tests. Because I'm concerned. I'm not trying to sound like a mean person. I'm genuinely concerned for your guys' intellectual abilities to do anything right. Because sometimes you do something that reminds me of the old Treyarch, and you guys give us quite a bit of content for the Season 1, but then I'm reminded that some of these DLC maps were stolen from Sledgehammer Games because you guys didn't have enough after 4 years of development, so I'm kind of left scratching my head like, what is genuinely going on? And at the end of the day, they're kind of just trying to appease Activision over appeasing the community, because if they're appeasing the community, we wouldn't have an ability like this in the game, and on top of that, we'd have loopable score streaks, we'd have bigger, non-brain rot shipment-esque maps, we would have field upgrades that boost in charge time for the amount of score that you're earning in the game in a single life. Yeah, I saw that exclusive Ace video too. But you see what I mean, guys? Like, there's a lot of things that just don't make sense, and where they could easily make a decision that benefits the community, it seems like they're really making that decision for Activision when Activision is asking for it. And has that always been Treyarch's thing? Think about it. Think back to Black Ops 1, 2, and 3, and even 4. Treyarch has always been the multiplayer development studio. Am I wrong in saying that? They've always been the most communicative ones. They've always been the ones that put out patches, and they've always been the ones that have better map design choices. And lately, it just feels like they're not that. Their zombies is stellar, in my opinion. I actually really like the zombies mode. But the multiplayer is just god-awful in a lot of different ways, and yes, I can hope for Season 1 to improve on some of those things, but the decision-making ability still isn't on mark for what I know Treyarch to be able to do. And so while yes, you see this as a rant video, a rage bait video, the Scadmaster's genuinely trying to give Treyarch a message of concern, right? I really don't know what's going on, and yes, you can make a joke out of this like, oh, he's calling Treyarch stupid. Of course I am, man. Like, look at the decisions that are going on.
That shit stinks.
Where does any of this make sense? Where does any of this align with the base design of the game? We want a fast-paced arcade shooter that it does not rely on realism whatsoever. They've made that extremely clear. And yet, where most of the popularity on realism stems from was MW 2019, and it looks like you're still appealing to this group of players that have this sort of handheld playstyle, that have these training wheels that need 5 to 6 years of SBMM straight because for whatever ungodly reason they still suck. So you need to find more ways to hold their hand through a match, such as giving them a tracker perk to just see whatever they want through walls. They can shoot whatever through walls, and that makes absolutely no sense. To give somebody legal walls with no downside and no counter already doesn't make any sense, but when you put it on a small map and majority of your map pool is just these tiny, hectic, chaotic maps, now I start to question the competence, the intellect, the decision-making abilities from a development studio that used to always hit that on the mark.
Shut up, Mimsy!
What is going on with Treyarch deep down inside? I have no idea, but I actually do have some genuine concern for them. Obviously, I am making a joke, like I think these guys are freaking stupid, but I still see little tiny flashes and glimpses of what used to be Treyarch. I know it's an entirely different development studio team now, especially without David Vonderhaar and a couple of the other OG names, but still, you gotta have a level of common sense where something needs to go off in your brain to tell you that this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I know what a lot of you guys are bound to say in the comments, like, oh my god, you just made a 15 minute video on a perk ability, wow, you're just rage baiting for views.
Don't care, still don't care. I don't care.
I understand the concern for the Scadmaster, but please worry not, okay? Because what you need to remember, this is the sort of feedback and criticism that some development studios genuinely need to get the ball rolling and give us some updates, give us some quality of life improvements for this game. And I'm still gonna say it right now, I applaud Treyarch for some of the changes, and I applaud them for the amount of content that we're about to get in Season 1, but it's not good enough, man. I'm sorry, after 4 years, none of this is acceptable still in my eyes. 5 maps in a single season is certainly getting there, but considering you had 4 years of development and you're stealing maps, and now you're just leaning closer and closer to deleting an entire ability without actually deleting it after everybody's giving you feedback to do so, still not good enough, man. Treyarch, you got a lot of work to do. I don't know what's going on. I genuinely feel concerned for you guys on an intellectual level. I suggest you stop looking at the data that influences your decision-making abilities and start looking at the community once again. Alright, but that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I'm curious to know what you guys think about all this. You think there's something going on with Treyarch in the background? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with my newest videos, and yeah, guys, it's been the boy Fooly. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out of here. Peace.